from the Janata, right? In whatever mediums that you can. And they coined this phrase called wisdom of the crowd. So rather than one particular organization or one individual collecting data about what they are dealing with, you collect the information from a larger audience of people who are directly or indirectly affected with that situation, right? Uh, so there are several crowdsourcing projects. For instance, crowdfunding is a big thing right now, like Kickstarter, Indiegogo. I'm pretty sure people have seen all those things. It's basically like a micro contribution platform where people contribute by, say, 100 rupees, 50 rupees, and then make something big happen, right? So, in the same sense, extending how we collect data or information from a larger audiences. Say you spend a minute to take these 10 questions to talk about how these issues affect you. And then we'll collect all that information, collate with the rest of the information that we got from other people, and then we get a larger view of what's going on, right? So it's a unbiased opinion about a problem that we're dealing with, right? Does that all make sense? Does that sound good? So to get a general sense of how many people here work with education, health, what else? Like nutrition issues, yeah, that probably fit into health as well. Yeah. Direct technology interventions, technology for change, that sort of stuff. Okay, so we've got roughly like education and health here. Cool. So that's roughly what crowdsourcing is. How you generally collect so much information to understand and get better hold of the situation, right? Okay, so at the end of the day, all what we do and what we want to do boils down to this data, right? If we don't have enough data to support our costs, we're clearly not in a great position to do that, right? So data collection strategies are very important for an organization, and like in fact, most of the organizations start with ideating the causes and then kind of figuring out like, oh, listen, now we need some data. How do we collect that, right? So I'm gonna throw crowdsourcing as the cheapest ways of doing that, and then we'll see how that fits for everyone. Okay, now, so the idea of crowdsourcing is a bit of a vague, it's a broad range. You can do several things. You can, like, there are tons of tools that you can use. You can collect data from, say, like zero cost to $100 million. So you need to essentially nail down what are the things that you want to collect and what are the audience that you are focusing on, right? So there are basically 4 questions that we want to tackle over the course of the next 30 minutes or so. What's our data? Who do we collect it from? How do we collect it from? We'll talk about what sort of tools we're going to use. And how do we verify this data? So to me, whenever I talk about crowdsourcing people, this is what I actually kind of address with the issue in 4 questions. If you don't know what data you want to collect, you can't necessarily go on the field or send your people on the field. If you don't know whom you have to target your data collection strategies, it's not going to work because you will end up collecting lots of information which are probably not your target audience, right? How do you collect it? You have to be sure that your tools are working very well. You have to try some of these. Maybe you have to just stick to paper forms. That might just work. Maybe all your target audience have cell phones and they're quite comfortable using that, so you have to switch to cell phones. And the last and the most important, how do you verify this information? How do you make sure that someone's not making a fool out of you from this data collection process? How do you make sure that people are totally true to what they're sending you, right? Okay, so does these four questions make sense? Are you able to kind of think about some of the problems that you have right now?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so we're in a good position. Okay, so now that we've got a general sense of what crowdsourcing is, what sort of questions are we trying to tackle, I'll introduce two of the stories that I want to through these four questions. So that'll give you a perspective of how to think through these problems, right? Okay, so the first one is the Akshara Foundation. Uh, so what Akshara, in a nutshell, what Akshara does is that we run several programs in schools, in a subset of public schools in Karnataka. And so there are math programs, there are science programs, there are language programs. We help establishing libraries. We partner with Pratham Books to send books across to children. There are lots of things happening. We have lots of researchers looking at all the data that we collect. How can we improve things? So some of the problems that we're trying to tackle. So it boils down to how the kids are learning or what they're trying to achieve while they're in school, right? So for instance, 6 out of 10 students can't read a class 2 textbook, this is 6 out of 10 students in the 5th class 5 can't read class 2 textbooks in public schools in Karnataka. 56% does not have usable toilets. 80% do not have drinking water facilities. So these are broadly the problems that we have in the schooling / academic area in the country. It's not just for Karnataka. I'm pretty sure it's the same for the rest of the country. So what Akshara wants to do is to create sort of a collective model where we partner with other organizations. For instance, we also partner with Akshaya Patra. We collect data about what sort of meal they serve, what's the frequency, what's the nutritional value, and things like that. So very interesting aspect. So we want to create a particular model of impact. Talk to parents, talk to the authorities, talk to the school authorities.